The Gospel of the Lord.
If you read my bulletin article last week, you know that I love to eat. And I'm one of those who definitely, there's the adage that says some people eat to live and other people live to eat. I'm that one. And luckily, food has been the theme of the gospel reading for the past 2 Sundays and today as well. 2 weeks ago, Jesus multiplied the loaves and the fish and fed a large crowd. Last week, that crowd was looking for Jesus as they were hungry again, but he told them to search for food that endures for eternal life. And today, Jesus tells the crowd that he is the bread of life. In these 3 weeks, Jesus has given us some lessons in basic nutrition. And have you noticed over the last few decades, nutrition has entered the mainstream of public concern? Diet cookbooks have become national bestsellers. Government regulations require food producers to list nutritional information on all packaging. The medical profession consistently warns us to be aware of what we put into our mouths. I was reminded quite bluntly, and I would also say rudely, of that by my recent visit with my doctor. He told me I eat too much and need to lose weight and exercise. I retorted to him and I said, but I never crave a salad. I only crave Big Macs. And the thought of joining our fit shepherds and exercising until you throw up just doesn't appeal to me. This past Saturday morning, I was in my office early, and the Fit Shepherds on one of the windows in my office looks out on the parking lot, and I could see the so-called Fit Shepherds out there doing their exercise routines. But I'll tell you, when they got done, as they were going to their cars, their butts were dragging. But in reality, never have so many people been so attentive to so many aspects of their physical health. The gospel reading today does speak about nutrition. Jesus refers to himself as the bread of life. Our attention today is drawn not only to our physical well-being, but to our personal and spiritual well-being. Formulas in contemporary society for personal well-being include job security, a good salary, cultivating well-connected friends, having all the right credit cards, being able to afford to buy all we want, good insurance policies, late model cars, opportunities for fine vacations, and the list goes on and on. Happiness in a consumer society such as ours is generally identified with conspicuous consumption. But there is little doubt, however, that Jesus' diet plan is at odds with these prescriptions for the so-called good life. Jesus was by no means a killjoy, but he took straightforward approaches to the real needs of the human heart and soul. For him, it is not what you have that counts, but what you are. It isn't what we can purchase that matters, for that is food that perishes. The food that lasts for eternal life is what we can give of ourselves to others. We are meant for happiness and the joy of a full and exciting life, but we will never find it. without feeding the needs of our souls. Proper diet, of course, is important and will keep us healthy and fit. We need to watch what we put in our mouths, so my doctor always reminds me. But we also need to be watchful of our spiritual diets and discriminating about what we allow into our minds and hearts. It makes little sense to be overly concerned about our calorie intake if we randomly inundate our minds and hearts with trashy reading, with pornography, malicious gossip, and hateful thoughts. What use is daily physical exercise if we never exercise our minds with new learning or our souls with daily prayer and meditation? Something is radically out of proportion if we insist on a balanced diet for our bodies and yet show little concern if our soul is ever nourished. That's why I always admonish parents at our First Communion Masses. These children are receiving their first communion. Don't let it be their last. That just as we need food to nourish our bodies daily, so we need that bread of life to nourish our spirits as well. But I almost feel like I'm preaching to the choir today, in a sense, because all of you are here today to nourish your soul with the bread of life. But it is worth considering, how vigilant are you to nourish your higher nature? Perhaps there have been times in your life when you felt like Elijah in our first reading, where you just couldn't go on. And like Elijah said, "This is enough, O Lord." But twice God nourished him to complete his journey to Mount Horeb. Jesus wants to nourish us too, so that we can complete the journey of our life. So how alert are you to the infinite possibilities God gives you for your spiritual growth? What nutritional plans do you have for your soul? Do you make opportunities for quiet moments for yourself, for prayer and reflection? Do you find time to dwell on something beautiful, music, art, natural wonders, or even the faces of your children? What is your daily intake of spiritual nourishment? Jesus, the bread of life, makes it clear that we are more than our bodies, and that the basic nutrition for our soul requires all natural ingredients with no artificial additives. Now that's a diet we all need to be on.